fix the jail, which is funny because my county assessor race is also using this language. But I have a very different vision for fixing the jail than perhaps building a $300 million giant new jail. But anyway, the Oklahoma City Chamber announced their Fix the Jail campaign. I don't know, light blue and yellow, thunder adjacent colors. I don't know. I don't know what.
I thought it was a good color palette.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Did you see the banner on their website? It's like just a picture of like a ratty jail cell. Like,
I mean, that's what every jail cell looks like.
Okay.
In the jail.
Oh, and Clay Bennett, chairman of the Oklahoma City Thunder, is leading the effort.
Oh, then why didn't Clay Bennett just pay for this shit? Ain't you rich?
He is.
Don't you got rich friends, Clay?
He does.
This is the same. He also put like the entire Washington State legislature hostage for us to take that team.
Oh, did he? Yeah. They did do some like big baller stuff to get the Thunder here. You know,
So
you gotta respect that game.
So do some big baller shit to fix our jail instead of making me pay for it.
But
locking me up in
Adriana, that would mean fixing society's problems, and I couldn't say that I like. No one likes it. Well, actually, you know what?
What?
Would they buy the jail? Like, could we sell the Oklahoma County Jail?
To who?
To who? Ain't nobody gonna buy that fucking piece of shit that's been condemned since the day it opened.
Some developers,
bro, that's prime real estate.
Eye on it, yeah.
They are trying to gentrify that area,
Yeah.
So
it's prime real estate.
They could turn it into some cute new like boutique style apartments.
Who owns the land? Like the county?
Yeah. I mean, I would love to like bulldoze it and turn it into like public housing, I guess, if that was an option. Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
Like, I do not want to sell it at fire sale prices to some developer to put in like $1,800 a month, you know.
Studios.
Yeah, studios.
That's all branded.
I don't think we need any more of that in Oklahoma City, but you know, like, call me crazy.
So, I don't want to take Nick's thunder on this because
No,
Nick has
please.
been yelling about this
No.
shit.
It's probably better if I don't yell about it. I'll just sit here and nod sagely to everything you say.
Like, here's my thing. The jail is condemned, and we know that. Yes, we need to replace it with something. Now, here's where the confusion happens. Because if y'all are just going to build another monstrosity of structural inequity and oppression, I have no interest in that. Now, if y'all are interested in building something that has windows and courtyards and is a safe environment for rehabilitation and recovery, coupled with other architectural designs that promote healthy healing. Like, people don't understand that the literal architectural design of a carceral facility in itself is oppressive and prohibitive of recovery, right? And now I could go on a whole thing, which I kind of am about to, but in recent science, right, we've proved that neurogenesis is a thing that can happen, which means your brain can change and grow continually your whole life. It doesn't just stop at a certain age, right? And there are 3 parts of the brain that we know for a fact participate in neurogenesis, and one of them is the amygdala. The amygdala is the part of the brain responsible for human empathy and compassion. We know that we can strengthen or grow, I don't know the terminology you would use, but we can fix the amygdala. People who are committing, these petty crimes has nothing to do with that, but people who are committing violent crimes or sexual crimes or things like that, we know through restorative and transformative justice and architecture that we can rehabilitate them, right? And what happens is one of the only things that can prohibit neurogenesis in the amygdala are high stress environments and literally darkness. So putting someone in a jail literally is making them worse and not better. So if you're going to ask that we spend $260-300 million in a new facility, and I'm going to say facilities because we need more than one. If you're going to have the jail, fine. build a jail that is based in design justice and transformative architecture, and then build an equity center where people can go for use computers and apply for jobs and get, training to use the damn computers to go out and get jobs. Right?
Have they
create programs? Like, what the fuck?
Up with a blueprint or released like any type of model of what they're thinking, or is it all just like, we'll build a new jail if you vote yes on this?
So they hired an architect who did not get paid a whole bunch for this. Like the jail trust, I think, just did it out of their budget. They did some renderings and gave you some ideas. It's got squishy chairs in the lobby, and it looks like it looks nicer, which is a pretty low bar. So I that's a good question though, and honestly, it was one we were actually talking about last night. Is like, what does the proposed new jail look like? My issue is this, and it's like very personal for me. Like, I had a family member who had co-occurring mental health and addiction issues. Our only options were to take them, drop them off downtown and hope they get out, or go send them to the Oklahoma County Jail. That was it. Like, drop them off at a shelter and hope they go inside, or go to the county jail. And so my deal is like, somebody who is suffering from addiction or mental health, the best place for them is not a jail. Like, it never has been, it never will be. And $260 million can build you a lot of shit. Like, it can build you a gigantic new jail, or like, Adriana said, to build you some mental health facilities. And my deal too is, if you put all your eggs in this one basket, it's not like you're gonna vote for these bonds and then tomorrow we're gonna build a jail. Like, this is a 5, 6, who knows how many year construction deal. They gotta get land. Like, it's a big long project. They could probably fix some of their issues in 18 months by just redeveloping something downtown to help get people out of there that don't need to be in there. Whether it's an intake facility or a diversion, expand diversion services. So I don't know. I am just very skeptical of this right now. I will be voting no on it, but I just think we could spend our money in better ways. And also, I keep hearing different things about where this thing's gonna be located. Like, one thing I've heard is out by the airport. Recently, I heard somebody else say they think it'll be located in Spencer. Both these options sound pretty bad to me, because right now the jail's like a block from the county courthouse. If you move it out, like, you create a bunch of logistics issues that, again, keep people in there longer than they should be. Anyway.
They already don't have the staffing in the jail for the jail size that they have, which is a 1,200 person jail that is any day 30% or more over capacity. But to build a new 1,800 bed jail is to say that we want to incarcerate more people. We want to be perpetuating the criminalization of my neighbors and community members. It literally does not make sense to invest in a bigger carceral structure. I'm a fucking abolitionist. I don't think we should put any money into a new jail anyway.
Yeah.
Period. But,
and just based on their own studies, you could drop the jail population in Oklahoma County by half.
Over half.
But I'm saying, and we would look like Ohio or Utah. Like, we wouldn't even be at like the bottom of the list for incarceration. We would just be like in the middle of the pack. That's how extreme Oklahoma's incarceration problem is we are more than like double, many states. So it's like, why would we build a 50% larger jail when we should be building, like, we should have half the population in there today?
Literally.
That we do. So there's just some like basic structural things that I just don't agree with on this proposal.
So I sat on the jail trust subcommittee that they put together, and I was the population reduction focus group project manager, which means I got access to all this data and information. And what I know for a fact is that the vast majority of people in that jail are in there. They're pretrial detainees, which means they have not been convicted of anything, which means they have not even been to trial, which means they need to be fucking at home.
Yeah.
You're innocent until proven guilty. So why are all of these legally innocent people sitting in a jail that's over capacity while we're sitting here twiddling our thumbs about whether or not to put $300 million into a new one to house the same people that don't need to be in jail?
Yeah.
Make it make sense. Like, literally, make it make sense.
Like,
and wait, one more thing. Because it's not the people who are in there, right? The turnover rate in the jail is different than the turnover rate in a prison. So these are people who their length of stay average is a day or a couple days generally, right? So what that means is the recidivism rates in Oklahoma County are astronomical. That means we are sending these same people to jail over and over and over and over again, effectively creating a debtor's prison and then criminalizing their poverty.
Yep.
This shit don't work.
It's expensive. You know, we're going to spend $260 million on that. And it's like, instead of like maybe addressing root causes like addiction, mental health, poverty, like it just feels like that's a better use of our taxpayer money than just building a massive new carceral facility.
Now, if the chamber and whoever is behind this, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, hey, Tim Tartabono, I know you're in on this too. So, like, put something in writing that you're not going to invest all of this money in a new jail. Put something in writing that you're going to invest some into mental health, resources and rehabilitation for people with substance abuse issues and fucking housing, because a lot of people going through the jail are, they're homeless. Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like,
Yeah.
No.
I'm at the point whenever it comes to this where it's like, we kind of have to now start thinking about ahead of this process. Like, number one, it's very likely that this bond issue is going to pass. I mean, we don't want it to, and we over at OPN are not very strong supporters of this. I mean, partly because we're a combination of, number one, abolitionists, progressives, and like just smart governing people. But on top of that, like, it's now thinking about also in the future of how exactly are we going to use this as a model of failure? Because, like, we know it's going to fail. We know this is something that's not going to work out. This is a mismanagement of taxpayer dollars and whatnot. I mean, Nick, you said it yourself. It's about addressing these root causes and issues like mental health. Like, because in my brain, I was thinking, why aren't we talking about this like it's a healthcare issue? Because we don't frame it in a way that this is a healthcare issue. Like, yes, we'll create like a mental health facility, but we also have to think about it in the context of like, this is something that can happen to anybody, including yourself. Like, especially for those of us who are Black and brown people, like, who end up going into any form of system, whether we did something or not, at a much higher rate than anybody else. And so we have to think about it in a context of, okay, if I'm having like a mental health episode or a crisis or something like that, the person who should be responding to me is like a healthcare worker instead of somebody like, who's going to put me in jail or, more likely than not in this city, kill me. So, I mean, I'm in a lot of people, again, there's not a strong no coalition against this. Even people we know are supporting issues like this, and which is a problem, to be very honest with you. We have to be ready when that day comes to be able to be like, and see what happened with this. Like, I mean, nobody likes being the I told you so person, but also nobody likes being the person who said, I warned you person either. Like, but we're at that point where we have to be like that, and we have to be harsh in that sort of behavior. This bond is not going to be good for the community at large. And once we see how this was in itself a failure of just investing in a sinking building, only then will people like liberals and conservatives even be like, go for the last Hail Mary and that sort of regard.
Yeah. I mean, how many times do we have to do this, though? Because literally it was the early 90s that we built the jail. And what's going to be different?
Well, and even this proposal is really recycled from like the early 2000s. I mean, they were proposing a 1,800 person, $300 million jail within 10 minutes of downtown in Oklahoman articles in the early like 2001, 2002 timeframe. So it's like they really haven't even evolved the idea. Because I'm with you. I mean, if I could see something in writing that says you're going to split the facilities up or do something fundamentally different, I'd be a lot more interested in supporting. But whenever it's like you're literally just dusting off whatever you had on the shelf from 20 years ago, And that was only 10 years after you built the first debacle. Like, anyway, just doesn't feel great. And then there's this article, Free Press, shout out to them and Marty and Brett for covering the jail trust. But I mean, the jail trust met on Monday, and that's the Oklahoma County Criminal Justice Authority, commonly known as the jail trust. They legally manage the Oklahoma County Jail now, and it's like almost half their members weren't there, so they like barely had a quorum. Like it has like the feel of like a nonprofit on its like last legs right before it like votes to like disband itself. It's like, and I don't know if I want to give them, a $260-300 million facility. If this is like the level.
Hell no! Look who's on the jail trust.
Yeah, and the one who actually had some criminal like management experience, Joe Allball, who, I met the guy in the past doing criminal justice reform work. He wasn't the worst, like he.
And he wasn't the greatest, but he's gone now.
Yeah, but he's gone. So, like, the only guy with, like, actual experience with a carceral facility on the trust is gone. Now it's just all
like, this shit is chaired by Jim Couch, who literally, in a jail trust meeting, after a vote, yelled at the public, "Are you happy now?" Are you kidding me?
That was actually pretty funny. I actually liked him, seeing him get that.
But yeah, but that's
tilted.
Like, these people are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very powerful group of people. A lot of oligarchs.
None of them are qualified to have anything to do with the county jail,
yeah.
And that's the sad part.
That is.
There's a bunch of powerful people, sure. None of them know what the fuck they're doing.
I just like to see some like since you have all this control and power and resources, like I would just like to see like real good ideas, like, and more details. Like we're gonna do these 5 things that voters definitely want, because voters want mental health. They want job training. I just don't know they should want it at a jail where you're like taking people's freedom away and forcing them. I don't know. Like,
and so on the back of this failed jail trust meeting and on the back of the new jail proposal, literally, like I said, I sat on the jail trust subcommittee. There was hella recommendations made to the jail trust that they accepted and still have done a shit to implement. Before we jump the gun of building a new jail, why don't we work on fixing some of the culture and the systems that are fucked up in this one? Because we're just going to take that to the new facility and ain't shit going to change.
Yeah.
What did y'all do with the recommendations? I typed them up and gave them to you. Literally. What did you do with them? You accepted them. What are you doing?
I mean, they did hire a contractor. Did they pay you $57,900?
Oh, they didn't pay me a dime.
Well, they're gonna pay this Lexipol to write a bunch of new procedures. I mean, it's like, this is what the jail trust is in. It's like second full year. It's like you're just now revamping your policies and anyway. It's very frustrating, folks. So yeah. Right now, I think we need to maybe look at a smaller bond, maybe look at other options. That's kind of where I'm leaning. But you'll hear more about that and my personal take on it sometime soon. Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.